Hello, lovely people. Tell us who you are.
My name is Stephanie. This is my daughter Ariana. She's 10, and up until the time she was 15 months, we had all of her baby well checks. I actually brought the book that we took to every single appointment, and she got her shots at the hospital. We were just on schedule. Every single visit we were there. And at 15 months old, she got the MMR and the DTaP combined, and we did not even fill out the book whenever we left, or have the nurse fill it out, because she was just screaming and crying. And by the time we got home, I'd say probably 4 to 5 hours later, she had 103 fever. This went on off and on for 16 days. She started getting really lethargic. She got a rash all over her tummy and all over her back, and her doctor's office at the time, her pediatrician at the time, did not document it correctly. I called multiple times. She was my first child. I have another son now, but they just did not handle it correctly, and they kept making me feel like, it's totally normal. It'll subside, the fever will break, rotate Tylenol and Motrin, which is what I did. And the fever seemed to get so much worse at night. At night, they were climbing up 104.2. And again, I was a new mom, and I was just listening to what they told me on the phone. I never spoke to her doctor again after that, even though I had called multiple times, and they had told me that he would return my calls, and he never did. We talked to a few different nurses during that time, but my husband was working out of town, and I can just remember, rocking her and crying myself with her, and just praying that the fever would break. And 16 days later, the lethargy finally subsided. She came out of it. She wasn't as limp, and it's like life started coming back to her, and the fever broke. But that was the last vaccination that she ever received, and again, it was not documented properly. And we have a new pediatrician now, but I did not even take her back to the doctor until she was 6 and developed hand, foot, and mouth. And we were able to get in, and it was a miracle, through a Facebook group. This local pediatrician's daughter saw my post and said, I told him we don't vax and we don't have a pediatrician because, we just I had not taken her back. And so that afternoon, even though we had a waiting list to like 3 or 4 months past that, we were able to be in his office that afternoon. And so we've got a great pediatrician now, and she only has shown mild sensory issues. As far as learning goes, some days are a struggle. We homeschool, but she did come out of it. And honestly, it didn't even really hit me until it was 2 years ago, when all of the CDC whistleblower stuff was coming out, and I was watching a lot of the videos, the Hear This Well videos on YouTube, and it was so many children in those MMR lethargies, and they never came out of them. And so I remember just sitting there watching those videos and just crying my eyes out, thinking, we were there. And I'm so thankful that she did come out. But, I feel so guilty for these families who, that don't have their children. You guys, you've done so much to spread so much awareness. And
don't feel guilty for us. We're extremely pleased for you. That's why we're doing what we're doing.
Right.
So we're really happy for you. And this is, thank God,
Yes, absolutely. And, I brought her records, and there was a word, because during that time I was home alone with her, and it was funny, I was trying to dig stuff, and this was a word that I had written down, that I had seen from a preacher on television.
Do you want to read it?
Yes. It says, "Whatever is set in motion against you, I will stop it, saith the Lord. Whatever I have spoken over your life, I will perform it. It is still going to happen, for I keep covenant with those who fear and reverence my name. I am the God that healeth thee." And I remember, holding her, scratching this down, and I've kept it all these years. But this is the book that I was talking about that I took to all of her well baby checks. They filled them out. This is her vaccine that she had received. The 15-month ones are not on here because of, she was just crying her eyes out whenever we left, and so they didn't fill it out and enter in all the information. But I did pull her records. I actually had our nurse send them over today. But these are the ones that she wrote her name and address. But this is all that she received. And the ones that are highlighted, that is the last day we ever saw that pediatrician. And those are the ones that she received that day.
Do you get aggravation for not now vaccinating her? Does anyone give you any grief?
We are blessed to have a wonderful pediatrician who people come from counties around here. The first time I had seen him in 2 years was actually at the VAC showing in Savannah. Like, he's just a wonderful, wonderful man. And so, because he's our pediatrician, you know, we don't have any grief as far as that goes. I am concerned. You know, I see the news, I see what's going on in California and, you know, Mississippi. I follow a lot of the groups, and, you know, it's frightening. It is, because, you know, I think as parents we should have that right. And in 2013, my son, who was just in here, Isaiah, I'm very big in the topical steroid withdrawal community because he had a horrific reaction to topical steroids, and I can show you pictures. I brought pictures of him too. But just, you know, pharmaceuticals as a whole, it's not a one-size-fits-all, you know, and being an admin in some of the topical steroid withdrawal groups, we see CPS being called on these parents, and they're shoving these medications down their throats. And you know, we have tried to educate so many people. You know, with our son, it was a steroid-induced eczema, and so many of these doctors are trying to force steroids on these families. And so it's so, you know, vaccines, with it being the steroids. You know, there's so many different things that I've seen with both of my children where damage has been done, and you know, it's hard to hold those. You know, you trust that you want to trust the medical community, and you know, as a whole. But I've seen from what we've lived out with both of our children that, you know, you have to be your children's best advocate. You know, you are their greatest advocate, and you have to, you know, nobody knows your children like you do. And as far as my daughter and my son, you know, having health issues due to medicines, you know, pharmaceuticals, it's just been eye-opening for our entire family. You know, we had, even myself, you know, before it happened with her, I was pro-vaccine. We were at every well visit. You know, with our son, we trusted what an allergist said, which it ended up being a misdiagnosis, and he spiraled into renal failure from it. It looked like he didn't even have skin on his body for 5 months straight. He lived in our kitchen sink. You know, his story went viral on Facebook and some places last year. But, you know, we've just seen a lot as far as the medical community as a whole. And I just feel like parents should have that right over their children as to what goes in them, on them, or is done to them. And so, you know.
So, you're going to join forces in fighting for the right for that
Yes.
to continue? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, that's what we're doing with the topical steroid community too. We're trying to, you know, re-educate people on even the treatment of eczema. There's so many, you know, just different things that we've got going on as far as that goes, and you know, we're trying to fight the good fight.
So we're really glad that you're better again now. Do you remember not being very well? No.
She was so little.
You were too tiny. How old are you again now?
10.
Okay. Good job.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And we're praying for you guys.
Thank
We
you.
love you.